Kyle. Do let us know in the live chat if you are able to see and hear us. We've been live since 7 o'clock, but for some reason there has been some form of technical problem today. Probably just a bit too much pressure on my laptop, or it could just be the fact that here in the UK that we are experiencing a lockdown. And there's just probably a massive amount of people online at the moment, and it just might be taking up, a lot of the bandwidth that's going in there. I can only apologise if this has affected your viewing this evening. So do let us know. Let us know if you can. Dave Lester, I see you. Can you hear us? Oh no, Kyle's mug has appeared. Yeah. You guys have been talking there. We are so sorry. We were on time. We are legitimately on time. We are also on Twitch TV this evening. We've been going since 7 o'clock, and I blame Kyle. It's all Kyle's fault. Sorry, guys. We
had a great chat.
Yeah, we've been having a great time. So my apologies. It's been a trying couple of weeks because Adrian D's in it. Evening, glad I'm not the only one who can't see now. Dan forgot to feed the gizmo after midnight. No, I think it is literally because there's lockdown and there's pressure on bandwidth this evening. I've been experiencing a little bit of lag this evening anyway. What it could also have been is that we were trying out something new for Kyle because Kyle can't see the broadcast live. He has to watch it with a little bit of delay. I was able to set up a virtual webcam so he could see what I was broadcasting, and I think that might have just been a little bit too much on my poor little computer, just struggling to do everything. So Kyle, you're back to being blind, mate, or at least seeing a video feed 15 seconds behind. I'm really sorry about that.
I'll cope.
So my apologies to everybody who has been waiting for us. Thank you very much for coming along. So week 11, Kyle. Kyle is here. Hi, Kyle.
Hey everyone.
I hope you're feeling better this week, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Apologies to everyone for last week. I have quite a stressful week, and then on my Friday I have 8 hours of online lessons. And by midday on the Friday, I had a migraine creeping up on me, so I had to hit eject on the lectures, as well as having to call it in for this evening.
And even if you feel better by the end of the night, man, you can't like not go to work and then go play, and you just can't do that. That's not cool. So yeah, that's fine. So last week was for my experience anyway, was a little bit of a bit of a washout because at last minute you pulled out. I'm not blaming you at all, although it is entirely your fault.
But sounds like it was that blame.
Yeah, you're right. It is your fault. But no, it was just I was caught off a little bit off guard about it. A lot of the topics I wanted to talk about and that we had ready for last week were going to be discussed, a bit back and forth. So I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to chill, go do some painting. Everyone's quite quiet in the live chat anyway. So yeah, I was hoping that last week would have been really good because it was episode 10. And it just seems like the metric point. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like this is a good time now. Let's get Twitch launched. Let's have a really good show and get some stuff going. But I couldn't get Twitch to run. Obviously, you were poorly. I had problems trying to get out the community spotlight. So I was just like, I'm just going to paint. People are going to chat. So this week I was hoping it was going to be episode 10.2, but that hasn't worked at all. However, I can see that we've got multi-stream running in the background. My CPU usage is maxing out at around about 51.3%, which is really quite high. So if you can see a little bit of latency, a little bit of lag, that's because I think we're broadcasting to two places. So if you are on Twitch TV watching this, welcome to Easy 8 Online Painting Club. My name's Danny. It says it down here, and this is Kyle. It says it just down here, and together we co-host this just as an opportunity to get people together, to unite the community of hobbyists and war gamers and just people who like doing creative stuff, really, so that we can spend some time together through the trying times. It's been a plan of mine for some time to kind of get this up and going, and halfway through the first lockdown, sort of halfway through last year, it just seemed like the perfect time to do it, and it's been really good fun. Like I'm getting stuff done. Kyle, how do you feel about it all so far? Let's pretend it's episode 10. 10 weeks. How do you feel about it? 10 weeks? 11 weeks?
10 weeks in. I've been this is the most I've ever done on the painting side of the hobby ever, and it's the most excited I've ever been. I've come from the background of just spraying my models, and that'll do. So at least they're not grey. And I've been excited. I've experimented with some new techniques, got some models done. That's given me the excitement to carry on, get more done. This is pretty much the only time in my week I get to do any sort of hobby things. So today, unfortunately, I'm not painting. I know, again, being a terrible co-host on a painting show and not painting, but I need to put the models together to be able to paint.
It's a part of the hobby, man. It's a part of the hobby. If you've got to put them together, you've got to put them together. I mean, is it one of those things that you can put them all together and do a bit of painting, or is that not going to work for you this evening?
If I get that chance, especially if I can get them done by the break and I can crack out all the paints and things like that on the interval, it could very well happen.
Well, let's see what happens.
On the plus side, I took a little bit of feedback on the last show I was on about what to do with my sergeants, my assault intercessors. And after speaking with everyone, I went for it and went for the chainsword. Have a role in mind. They're there for
of course, because it was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? You were talking about, because you had the 4 done, but you didn't have the 5th guy, and then you were like, I don't know how to set him up, but then obviously you had a chat with people in the live chat. Yeah. So what, you gone, what, bolt pistol? It's not a bolt pistol, is it? Because it's different in the, I don't know much about Primaris Marines. It's not a bolt pistol.
It is not a bolt pistol, and I'm going to look like a fool now.
Yeah, so you are unprepared, you see.
You've put me on the spot.
Yeah, I have.
Something like that. It is. Oh yeah, cool. No, unfortunately, even on the little sort of manual you get to put them together, they just number them now, so they don't even tell you what the options are. But yeah, just to make life interesting. It's the Primaris
bolt pistol. It's essentially a pistol and a sword, right? A chainsword. I like a chainsword. I think it's my favourite out of all the different swords or close combat weapons you can get. I do like a relic blade as well. I've got a captain, like the traditional old school marine with a jetpack and a two-handed axe. It's like with the I think it was one of the captain models that they did, and it was called the Executioner, and he just had this kind of stoic look on his face. And I just use it as a relic blade because I thought it looked awesome sauce. So yeah, I like slam captains. Like they kind of bring the instant death to the enemy straight away. So
Blood Angels are the place for the slam captain. I mean, the changes to the humble chainsword now, they're just incredible. The extra attack, they've got the -180.
I haven't got the Space Marine Codex yet. But what I do have, and I did bring this up last week, is I have the 40k core rulebook. It is a beast, and I got this from Just Play UK, and I preach about those guys every week, and it was like $34.99, I think. So to me, that seemed like a pinch. It was a steal at that price, compared to previous editions where the rules have been like 50 quid or whatever. So I've got that one, and I've been merrily soldiering through. I think that's an in-joke. Yeah, and I've been kind of like making my force and whatever. We were talking about building up a crusade force where you start with like a little patrol squad in there. And I've been talking with some friends, and I think that actually, and I might be totally wrong on this, but I think that actually you don't start off with 25 power, you start off with 50, but it suggests that you put a patrol thing in there, which is 25, so you can start with more. So I've been building a Tyranids force, and I've got a few bits and pieces in there, and I thought I got quite a nice little force. Turns out I've got half a nice force, if that's the case. But this week I've been doing a lot of technical stuff here for the show. I've been trying to do lots of painting and really pushing my development and my skills on the zone thropes in a minute, which you'll see in just a second. So I haven't really had an awful lot of time to really focus through that book. My housemate has been looking through the book and has been absorbing it, and it seems that on the front of it that there are some changes that are quite minimal. And I was like, oh really? I know that every edition, almost in the second edition really, hasn't really been a new set of rules. It's been like an update of rules really more than anything. But I was expecting a bit more. But then I got into it, especially into the narrative play, which you and I both love. It goes more into like the changes and the agendas and how warlord traits work. And of course, the biggest thing here is the removal of Overwatch, which means that that's going to completely change how my forces work. Because I'm a big fat Tyranids player, and I like to play the less shootier side of the army. Not that it has much of one anyway. I like the Starship Troopers kind of approach, or I'm a big fan of Aliens and that franchise. So I kind of wanted to emulate that. You've got to have a little bit of shooting, though, haven't you? In a close combat army, you've got to support it a little bit. And I do like some of the gunny stuff in it. But of course, we've played games where I played against you in Tau in what, 6th or 7th edition, 7th or 8th edition, and I slugged it all the way across the battlefield. Got there and went, what am I doing? Got to charge a Tau gun line. I'll pop off over here and did I win that? I can't remember. What?
Technically.
Yeah. I don't know if I deserved it. Maybe I did. It depends on what side of the fence you're sitting on that one. But now, of course, you
won the point. But if it had been real, you'd have had a couple of little gribblies left.
Mate, I was buying time. I was buying time for the orbital support. That's what was going on there. But of course now it goes to command points, the stratagem which you pay for, and I think that's going to work really well. Obviously, I haven't even played a game in the new rules set yet. I'm very behind the curve on that one, but it'll be very interesting to see how that plays. And I should imagine that armies that kind of specialise in marksmanship and guns, like the Tau, for example, might have better access to stratagems such as Overwatch.
It looks like the Tau force, as it stands, do have their own separate Overwatch rules.
Okay, so I was right on that one then.
They're not as restrictive as it is for other armies. And then the other thing you just mentioned as well with the Crusade forces, the idea is you put a 50 PowerPoint roster together.
Yeah.
And then the first games are 25 PowerPoints.
Oh, okay. So I haven't read it clearly.
You can mix it. You can mix and match a bit. Those first sets of games are
for I follow.
25 PowerPoints if you want to be, or you can just jump straight into the 50 PowerPoint games. I kind of like the idea of getting those quick games in at 25 PowerPoints. Just lets you start to build a bit of narrative quite quickly.
And it's your game, right? Do with it what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the fact you've got a roster, so you can chop and change for different missions and different players and things like that. So, yeah.
It's nice.
It's like a nice idea.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to finally being able to see my friends and have some human contact and play some games with various players. It's been too long. I mean, I've a housemate who plays 40k, and we're actually hoping to get some games in very soon. So that's what happened last week, because I was going to talk to you about that, and obviously I didn't get a chance to, and I was very excited, and then you ruined everything.
I know you're excited because I kept getting pictures of your update on how far through the rulebook you were getting, so I knew you were.
I sit there in the evenings with a cup of tea or a glass of cheeky, and I sit there with it on my lap, and I'm like, I can't like that. Take a photo. Yeah. Well, at least you were getting them. That's cool. So some things I wanted to talk about today. Then, obviously, Twitch TV. I've got that back up and running. If you're on Twitch TV, give us a holler. Let us know. Hopefully, I'll be able to see it. I think that I have a chat that presses everything into one. I'm not entirely sure. It's the first time we're going out there, but I wanted to expand our audience into Twitch. So welcome to the show. Last week I wanted to talk a little bit about terrain, but we'll get more into that in a minute. I want to get on with some painting as well. But just before we go any further, just before the show went live, I posted up a little picture of my current project onto Instagram, as I like to do. And we had another follower on Instagram. And let me just see if I can pull this individual's name up. A lady called Mud Monkey Miniatures liked the image that I put up, said, like, your work's really good. I was doing some practices with edge highlighting, and I had a quick look through the photographs. And they also play or paint miniatures, and the work was just phenomenal, as a lot of the stuff is on Instagram. So I was like, hey, come along and join in the show. So if Mud Monkey Miniatures, if you're watching right now, thanks very much for coming along. And if you're not, maybe you want to watch it later on, or this really isn't for you, soz. But Mud Monkey Miniatures did subscribe to our YouTube channel, so we're increasing our audience, and of course subscribers to YouTube are really what help this channel along. So thanks very much for being a part of it, or at least just for helping us if it wasn't for you and you just decided to go off on your merry. That's cool. So let's finally get over to the workbench now that we've caught up. We're back up and running. Whew, it's a lot of stress on the old laptop. We're probably going to get a lot of latency, a lot of lag tonight. I can only apologise for that. I'll see how bad it is back on the replay. moving over to the workbench. Here we go. Oi, Carl's up in the top corner. I'm here too. This is my bench. I've gone back for the zoomed in approach. If it's too close or a little bit out of focus or whatever, I do have the settings open today so that I can adjust it as we go. So let us know and I can play around with that. I just thought it's a bit nicer. I think that all the lighting levels are a bit nicer as well when it's all a bit zoomed in too. So, last week I was doing a little bit of work on my zoanthropes. I had a couple of days off. I was quite poorly earlier on in the week. I'm feeling much better now, thank you very much. But I was starting to do some highlighting on the zoanthropes here. So, previous episodes I'd done all the basic colours on them. And what I wanted to do on this bad boy was to have a grey carapace with a little bit of a black filter over it, so null oil, my old enemy. I'm going to do some pin lining in a minute to kind of better define all of these armor plates on it, and then I wanted to highlight it with a light grey. And as I've been kind of doing it, I've been exacerbating. It's a good word, isn't it? Exacerbating these the sort of, I don't know what you call them, the scratch marks, or just just trying to make it look a bit more real, a bit more animally. And it's taken me a long time because it's the first time that I've really spent this amount of time picking up highlights like this. I used to be, as I've said before, like a dry brush here to pick out all this, and I just found that a little bit lazy. You can get some stunning effects with it, like Kyle, your Blood Angels, man. They are wicked. I've never been able to achieve that kind of look or style or anything with dry brushing. So it just goes to show that what one person finds as a redundant technique doesn't mean that it doesn't have a place. Someone else is just going to have that not luck, but they're going to have a better technique, a better skill with it. So I've been trying to pick the edges out and kind of just draw these kind of liney, spiky bits on it. And I finally got this one done earlier on. I would like there to be a little less contrast between the greys. I'd like the sort of mid-tone grey to be a little bit brighter, but that's just non-oil. I got it to go where I wanted to, but I just think it might be the wrong filter. But I can't argue with it because what I can see over the Biovore here, that dreaded thing, is that I'm progressing, I'm developing, I'm learning, and I'm really, really happy with that. So what I'm going to do in a minute is I'm going to do a bit of pin lining with some black just to kind of bring out all the plates on him a bit more. I'm going to do some teethies on him. Yeah. And then I think I'm pretty much done with this one. Obviously got some base work to do, but I was just looking at the yellows that I have here. Oh dear, you keep on falling over. I might have to weight those bases. I've got these three yellows here in my Vallejo air range. And I was trying to think of a highlight colour for them. I used to with my gaunts. I used to highlight them this one just ever so slightly, just to kind of bring out the details. And I might do that again. When I bought this set, because I was using the brush-specific Vallejo colours, it didn't have sun yellow in it, or at least I couldn't see it when I was going through them. But in my air set, I do have sun yellow. And I was just playing around them on my palette, trying to find a clean surface. And I put them all through. They've kind of merged into one. But if I point here, this one here is the gold yellow. Which I normally use. This one here is the moon yellow, which is the bright one here, which I've used in the past. And then there's this one over here, which is sun yellow. There seems to be very, very little difference. It's like, I don't know, they look like egg yolks that have almost together. You can barely see the difference on the camera. Obviously the moon yellow you can, but I was hoping that the sun yellow might have been like a really good highlight. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm just thinking of going back to gold yellow, which is another technique I've tried, and just do a slight amount of dry brushing and maybe just a couple of edge highlights just to pick out some of the details that have been washed away, if you like, drowned out by my sludge washing with Seraphim Sepia. I've got to put a bit of Seraphim on his teeth to kind of bring those out a little bit. Oh, my autofocus is going crazy. And then it's time for basing. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm trying to focus on getting quicker with it because I've got so many models that I want to do, and I was just informed earlier on that someone's giving me a load of Flames of War 50mm tanks, which I love them, but that just adds to my pile. And this show is all about getting your grey minis not grey anymore. Here I am getting more, so we'll see what's going on there. Carl, you've obviously said that you're making your minis tonight and not painting them. If you are, go on.
Host. As the terrible host of a painting show, I'm making minis.
You've got to make them. You've got to make them before you paint them. Otherwise, what is this? But if you are painting minis today, let us know what you are doing. I don't know if you saw the video back last week. Sorry.
You beat me to it. It's like my catchphrase.
Oh, sorry, Kyle. Sorry. I need to give you some responsibilities. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let you go on. Say it.
So if you're painting at home, drop it in the chat. Let's have some conversation in the chat. And that's the same if you're watching this after the show. If you pop this on for when you get the chance to sit down and paint whenever's good for you, let us know what you're painting.
Yeah.
It's always nice, and it's always great to have a chat with whoever's out there and listening. I'm going to, after a couple of weeks now, I'm going to guess Luke, Sisters of Battle. I've got a feeling. I've got a feeling there that I might be right. But let's see who else is painting. Is anyone else painting tonight?
Adrian last week, I don't know if you watched the video playback, but last week was painting the Fortress of Redemption, a beast of terrain. Loving it. And I was telling everybody last week that we worked with a gentleman who lives quite locally to us, who has every box set of every war game imaginable. And of course, we went to go play at his house once and asked us to go into the cupboard where he keeps all his terrain, and we just saw lines and lines and lines of boxes of everything that you could want from every game. And of course, there were like 3 Fortress of Redemptions in there as well. It was mental. Fortress of Redemption, it's a big piece of terrain. I've just put some grey in my wet palette, and I'm not entirely sure why.
Nailed it.
Yeah, right. Your audio is suddenly coming through nice and clear there, Kyle. Like, I don't know, have you changed something?
My headphones have started doing this weird thing where they just decide to cut out even though they're fully charged. So I've just gone in for the cable. But if that is making it a lot clearer, and now we know that, I'll just continue with the cable.
It just sounds less smothered. It's probably the best way of putting it. Cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Look, I was right about Luke. Look at that. You know me well.
You know me well. Yeah.
It's almost like we lived together for a really long time. Can't even work it out in my head. Just on the topic of terrain there, I just missed a little bit of it there where my headphones decided to play. But it links in quite nicely to what we're talking about with the Crusade. My thought for hopefully a Crusade that will happen soon with everyone that we know, because thinking how much you can get done in a weekend when you're playing 25 PowerPoints to start with. But once we get the theme and the narrative for it, everyone has to chip in terrain for it as the buy-in. So the buy-in for the being able to join in is you've got to add so much terrain. So
a little bit of terrain.
Nice pool of it.
That's a nice, like a gaming club sort of thing.
Yeah, and I just thought we'll already have decided the narrative of the campaign. We'll have the kind of the fluff sorted out for it. Everyone knows what theme they're building for. Everyone makes a couple pieces of terrain for it.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah. I like it. And of course,
the theme in our battlefield and keeping that theme through the narrative. And
yes, and that is one of the things I wanted to talk about is how you create a theme on your battlefield, because what I was saying last week was that it's very easy to kind of forget about painting your terrain and your battlefields because you're focusing on your miniatures so much that you want to just kind of get them done. You just kind of you leave them out, don't you?
Yeah.
But actually, it kind of defeats the object if you're spending all your time, or if you're just focusing on getting your armies painted, then they're going to go and fight in a grey landscape. Kind of, yeah. But it's hard to find the time, and especially people who are sort of our age have families, and people who are younger than us have school and college, and and at the moment it's not the easiest place to be. I get it. I've just realised I'm painting the wrong zone trope. I tell you what, man! Like this tonight's show is so bad it's funny. Yeah, I was thinking, what have I done to this zone trope? The highlights I've spent the last 3 days, where have they gone?
That quick.
Do you know what? This brush is. It's not working for me. I've got to move to another brush here. I struggle so much with this paint. It kills me.
Good work, Quinlook. See Adrian's comments. I'm just popping over to Facebook just to have a little look now, just to see what he's up to. He's popped them on Facebook for us, some photos of what he's doing.
Nice.
Where is it?
Hello.
Always.
Jeanette77 has followed on Facebook. Yeah, Jeanette77 is now following. Thanks very much, Jeanette. We got a little zombie picture up there. We didn't get my usual, my little LEDs or my little neon light things going on there. Thanks, Jeanette. You broke it. Cheers. But yeah, if you're watching right now, thank you very much. That's very cool. Followers and subscribers. I'm loving it. Okay, this brush is much better. I didn't want to do much. I didn't want to be like saturating the whole area with it. I just wanted to kind of get it in around those carapace lines just to better identify the highlights I put in there. And because of the problems I've been having with none lately, I've actually been looking at getting some inks, because they're a totally different thing altogether. They're very, very intense. You use them very minimally. And I saw a gentleman on the Tyranids page on Facebook, which I frequent every day because there's some really inspiring stuff over there. And he has done very similar carapace style to what I've done, but has achieved what I've been trying to do, and I haven't been able to so far. And I asked him, and he says, "Yeah, man, I've been using the inks by Megamines or by Ammo." So I've been watching some videos over the last couple of days and seeing how to kind of do it. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I want. And you just use them through an airbrush, which obviously I have. And you just take it very, very gentle, very, very slow, and you just build it up over a few layers, and it starts to become quite visible. It doesn't run around. It doesn't have tide marks. So I'm like, yeah, let's give this a go. So I've got a bit of a shopping list of things that I want to get over the next few days. I've been talking about for a while now about getting some new brushes. Want some Raphaels. I want some nice Kalinskis. Just because I think that Sable is just a really nice, like proper fibers for your paintbrush. The one I'm using right now is a really fine Sable brush, and I moved away from the Games Workshop synthetic one just because it just wasn't depositing the paint where I wanted it. I just seem to have better luck with Sable, but they are quite a bit more expensive.
I've just seen the crazy tower that Adrian is painting.
Yeah, that is the Fortress of Redemption. You were just sorting out your headset, I think, at the time I was saying it, but yes. Kyle and I used to work with a gentleman who has several of them in his attic. He has like every box set that you could ever imagine for every game, and asked us to go in his cupboard one day, and we went in and were like, oh my god, would you just look at this?
And he's a phenomenal painter.
Oh, it just makes you so angry.
But he takes his time to paint his scenery to the same standard.
Yes, he does.
It's a long process. He puts a lot of time and effort into all his painting. But when you do get to go round, he's got a couple boards up in his attic. It's his own proper little gaming room kind of set up.
He's a very proud gamer, isn't he?
Yeah, very proud of the hobby and what he does. And yeah, it's fantastic. And getting to play some battles on those boards is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Play some Necromunda on there, and some of the Underhive. It looked like the Underhive.
Necromunda is such a wonderful game.
It just made it that much better having all of that to be able to play on. Yeah, it's really, really awesome. I keep getting distracted by pictures on our Facebook page, and so far I put together one torso of a Space Marine. It's not the most productive of sessions, but it's just nice to be back and being able to chat with people. Oh, apparently we're having some problems with Twitch, Danny.
Oh, are we? I
As you
apologise.
just said.
Twitch ain't streaming anymore. It has literally cut out on us. That is a real shame. My bandwidth must be really high. It does say here, stream was disconnected, attempting to reconnect 35 minutes ago. So it looks like right at the beginning of the show, it may have just been too much. I'll do some investigation into that. I'll do my research. And if it proves to be too much, then I might just have to, pull the cord on that one until, I have access to a better space where I can set up a big rig computer, which will definitely help. But it might just be down to bandwidth. It might just be too much for it. So if you've come here from Twitch or you're watching this back on playback and wondering why, I'm really sorry. I tried. I won't stop here. Obviously, I will try and do some more. Adrian's saying, yeah, not anymore. Apparently, it has started again. Okay, so maybe it's just cutting out and coming back in again. Maybe you are watching this little bit by little bit over on Twitch. My apologies. It's not very professional, but you got to give it a go sometimes, right?
Oh, I've meant to say this at the very beginning of the show. It came up again a couple of weeks ago about some old brushes to be sent through. Just as we were talking on the community thing, and they've come through, and I show a massive thank you to Jeff for sending those brushes. They are going to go to incredible use, and I can't wait to duck into some more painting.
You were saying before we started that you thought that you were going to be getting some old, somewhat used brushes, but these apparently aren't.
No, they look like that. The handles look used, but the actual brushes, most of them are looking in really good condition.
Whoever gave you those, you got to use the brush the other way around, mate.
Yeah. That's why I've probably been struggling with my painting for so long. You don't use the handle.
But it's so soft to hold it at the other end.
It is. It's like a hand massage.
So, yeah, here's the problem that I have with Nuln oil, this delightful little wash, is it just dries less intense than when it goes on. Now, you can see on my zone throat here, Carl, you're going to have to wait until you see that, I'm afraid. You can see that where it's quite wet, it sits there quite intense, but as it dries, it just kind of fades off into nothing. And that's one of the problems, one of the few problems that I have with this blighted paint. What I'm trying to do is just add a little bit of lining in there. It is doing it for sure, but I have that's like 2-3 layers that I've put in there already, and I know that with an ink that I'll have probably much better, more precise results. But also what I can start seeing now is tide marking again, and this is a problem that I really had with that Biovore, is that it didn't go where I wanted it to, and when it dried it was just a mess. So yeah, I was thinking to myself, shall I make my own wash again, like with black paint and water or medium or something, and see how it goes, because I don't want to ruin all the work that I've done here. But I'm being bold. I'm trying to give Nuln the chance that it deserves. It looks okay there on the. I mean, my screen is very small and far away from me. Let me enlarge my screen here. There we go. So, yeah, you can see it. It looks better on here than it actually does up close in real life. Yep, wonderful. Come on, focus. Do it. Anyway, whatever. Keep on going. Soldier on, eh? What I could do, and I probably should have done, is give him a little top coat of satin varnish, because it might be that on a very, very small scale that the matte surface of the paint is kind of pulling it around and not really doing what it wants to. But if it's on a glossier surface, it might want to might want to pool around a bit more in those creases. So I'm going to leave that for now. I will come back to it. I can see the black lines on there. It has done a little bit of something. But let's excuse me. Let's come back to it. So I need to get the airbrush out anyway, because I wanted to do a little bit on terrain as well. I've been doing a lot of highlighting on my zone thrope today and the last couple of days, so I don't know if I want to start on these ones just yet. They've been washed with Nuln oil. I'll come back to those later on, I think. But what I do have is, throw it around, is I had it out last week, was my golden fallen eagle piece of terrain. I like it. for like normal troop size models, it has just enough height to in some cases be obscured, in some cases totally, other places it's just a little bit of cover, and it's just something to adorn the battlefield and make it look a little bit different. I suppose it was some sort of, you know, figurehead or emblem that has fallen off the side of a building, fallen onto some, you know, rough terrain. And I did paint it all up grey, and it was all kind of dry brushed and what have you. But it blended away with all the rocks and stuff, but it didn't really look all that special. But I was, obviously, the last couple of weeks we were talking about painting golds and metallics and things, especially for Kyle, obviously, because you want to do your Sanguinarium Guard, don't you? Sanguinary Guard. And I was like, do you know what? I've got the perfect piece of terrain that gold would look really good. It's actually a bronze colour, not brassy brass. Bronzy bronze. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna get that colour out and I'm gonna give it a good go, and it looks really good. I haven't touched it since last week. Yeah, it's a little bit transparent still because I only gave it the one coat. But what I thought I would do is I'd get the airbrush, get a little bit of black, and I'll just kind of hit all the recesses, and then I'll go over some more, more of the bronzy bronze colour, and that should lend some artificial shadow, which will just kind of give it a little bit more depth, which will look really, really cool. So I thought I would just do that while my Zone Throat head dries. I can go backwards and forwards, and it means I'll also have the airbrush set up with some what do you call it, varnish. Nice, struggling for words today.
Be quite a nice like centerpiece, and it will contrast quite nicely with terrains.
It comes this pack.
Nice to have a centerpiece.
Yeah, this pack came with a couple of pieces. One was almost pointless. I didn't see the point of having it. It was a tiny little archway thing that like it had fallen off and stuck in the ground. I was just like, do you know what? Whatever. That is somewhere in one of my boxes. I don't know where. But this, it is really nice, and it comes with a statue of a Space Marine, which I inadvertently have not brought into the studio with me today. I was going to show you it because I've got some plans for it. I've been filling in all the joins and holes and seams and things all over it with filler over some time now. It's been like a little project I've just been coming back to every now and then. And the idea is that I will be able to mould it. Not for resale, obviously. If Games Workshop, you're watching this, that is not my intention at all. I will not be moulding your products and selling them on. It is purely for my own purposes, but I was going to mold it out of silicon. I've got a lot of experience with molding because of my dad and his business and projects that we've done in the past, and I'm pretty confident with it. And what I want to be able to do is make them out of plaster, so I'll just fill them with plaster, and then you can knock them up and smash them and make it look like they're made out of stone. You can damage them and it looks real because it is real. That's the intention. But I can also do it with resin, so I can just kind of knock them out in whatever way I want to, and I can do them in pieces, so I could just mold like the head or the chest section, make it look like it's been buried or separated, like blown up or whatever. So yeah, that's a project I'm gonna do, and I'll actually when I do that, I will do a separate video on that entirely, so that you can watch it on playback or at a time that suits you, and it will be there forever. Oh, it's not brassy brass. But I've actually got it out of the box already. Today is just not the right day for me. So this colour is Bright Bronze by Vallejo Game. I
think we said that last time.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Not brassy brass.
Not brassy brass. Are you going to use any of the techniques you used on the Terminator on this, sorry?
That is a question that I thought I would leave up to everybody, yourself included, Kyle, because obviously when I was doing that Terminator, like you say, I did lots of different techniques. The one that I enjoyed the most, or the one that I thought had the best effect, was the...
Please say brown oil.
The brown. You like the brown oil, did you? I really like the Seraphim Sepia.
I feel that those two are kind of on a scale with each other.
Yeah.
You go the
Seraphim. Wow, you're doing well.
Seraphim Sepia.
Hi everybody, this is Kyle and I'm Daniel, and we're really good at this. When clearly we're not.
And yeah, the brown oil paint just gave it an even grimy. It was a grimier.
Yeah, it has that grim look to it, that really dirty, kind of gross look, which is what you wanted, wasn't it? You wanted that appearance with your Space Marines. Now, what I might do is I might apply the Seraphim Sepia over the whole surface of this to kind of give it that filter without trying to make it pool, and then I might use the oil to fill in some of the to make it look like it's been sat in the the grime and the dirt for a while.
That's exactly what I was thinking. For that, why to go for the brown oil is it's been smashed up on the floor, it's been trodden on, it's been there for a long time, whatever. It will give that nice aged look.
Aged look. That's a good word. Yeah. Aged. Right. Let's get some flow improve there and some thinner. We're about 5-10 minutes away from a break, I think. I will be on for a few minutes longer at the end of the show, just to make up for the 5 or so minutes that we that we missed at the beginning. But we normally overrun by a couple of minutes anyway, so we're just kind of wrapping everything up. But just to let you know that I'm here for the content. I'm not here just to, just for timings or whatever. Yeah, that's not what this is about.
Just whilst you're prepping that, I had a great nostalgic moment this week. I managed to find an old computer game that was probably one of the first sort of like role-playing computer games set in a fantasy world. Kind of got me into this whole genre of games and things.
Yeah.
I found it for £1.
Nice. What was it? What was the game?
Might and Magic 7 for Blood and Honor.
I've heard of it, but I haven't played it.
It's super, super old school. I think it's like 1999. Popped it on the computer, and it's just sat there. It's waiting for me to have a proper playthrough of it when I get the chance. But yeah, I just thought, oh, how nostalgic. And I remember being absolutely terrible at it. So I'm hoping to have a bit of a playthrough on it and enjoy it fully. So yeah, I just couldn't believe it. Proper little memory blast.
Nice little trip down memory lane. Love it.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. I don't know if you can see that. Little bit of just shadowing effect in there. I don't want to completely coat it. The idea is just let it spill out of that kind of crease a little bit, so that when you go back over it with gold, you want it to kind of show through. Airbrushing isn't about saturating, or any kind of painting, as we all know, too thin coats, right? No painting is about saturating an area. I should imagine, like everything, technique has its place. But if you do thin coats over it, you're basically, it's about filtering and having layers, like a cake or an onion.
Sorry for making you feel old there, Adrian, but there's.
Is that what's going in there?
Yeah, I think I was 10 when I got that game.
I'm a PC player, and I remember getting my first PC when I moved out and I had my flat, and it was a rubbish PC, and my mate helped me put it all together, and somewhere along the line I acquired Chaos Gate, and that was my first ever real go at a PC game. Do you ever remember Chaos Gate? It's a Warhammer 40,000 game, and it was a take-turn Space Marine game. I never really played much more than a couple of missions on it, but yeah, I remember having a bit of fun with that one.
I did see there's a new sort of squad-based Space Marine game out at the moment, but I don't have the time.
No, you're very busy at the moment, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, this is my hobby at the moment. Commit to one.
Yeah, right.
Sorry. I'm mesmerised by the airbrushing.
A lot of people have been talking to me about can I do a little video on airbrushing, like how to use it, and then the maintenance, and just kind of what is involved in having an airbrush. And I've been getting a lot of discussion about it away from Painting Club, like just in general. So I'm currently thinking about how to approach that. There are obviously videos out there, and I don't necessarily want to just produce stuff or content that other YouTubers make, but if people want to hear it and see it from this platform through me, then I'm more than happy to. So if you've got any questions that you kind of want me to answer in that video, have a think about it perhaps, and just I either bring it to me as a part of the discussion during Painting Club now, or just on Facebook or wherever you feel comfortable, and I will try to include the answer to your questions if I can answer it at all in that video. What I think I do It's a great evening, isn't it? What I do that other YouTubers don't is I don't do pre-recorded stuff. I think that's I was going to. I've done like one little product reveal tutorial style thing at the moment. I've got more stuff coming. As I was going to do it as a pre-recorded thing. But again, that sort of stuff exists out there. But by showing you live where, all the mistakes are there, added in, I'm learning, I'm showing you might have a better feel for it. That sort of stuff, that stuff I don't see it out of there. So, when I'm going to be doing that airbrushing video, I like to keep them around about the 20 minutes to half an hour mark if I can. I will try to show you what happens when things go wrong. Like a couple of weeks ago when I was painting, not gold, but bright bronzy bronze. You might remember, Kyle, that I did not clean my airbrush out at the end of the day because I was very tired. We had a really good show, and I just forgot about it like a douche. And then left it there all week and came back, and it took me ages to clean. In fact, I was still cleaning it yesterday, and that's several weeks on, where I actually had to get the sonic cleaner out, which you should do regularly anyway. But
it's a great lesson. A great lesson to learn.
Yeah, sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you foul up like that, and I think that sort of stuff needs to be included, not just as part of the discussion for the tutorial or whatever, but I think it needs to be shown, and I'm more than happy to make mistakes for people. Yeah, I messed up a bit there. I splodged a bit. I got a bit too trigger happy. It just kind of sprayed out. The problem with an airbrush often is that the paints are almost dry when they appear, because it's sat inside the hopper, inside the little paint chamber in here, but they're being charged. As far as I'm aware, they are being charged positively, like a spray can, and that makes them adhere more, and they just dry faster. So where you might be able to manipulate with a brush your normal paints, it's actually very difficult to do it with an airbrush. So get it right. So you can see I've got a great big fingerprint there, so I'll have to kind of, with next layer of bronze over the top, I'll have to kind of clean that up a little bit. But I'm used to making mistakes.
You also don't need to, it's terrain. It could be a foot mark, or those blemishes will be seen.
Of course, I know that my dad is watching this video, Jeff Lacey. Say hello, Dad. He obviously makes terrain for Pepperline Creations. Insert your unscheduled advert for your company here. Why I'm a part of this, this hobby is obviously because of his input into it when I was young. He makes terrain. He makes scratch-built terrain, and very top-class stuff as well. Go and have a look at it. I say it every week, go and have a look at his stuff. It is phenomenal, the current stuff over on his Facebook page at the moment. But he might be able to shout some ideas and suggestions at whatever, because obviously this plays right into his field. So, Dad, if you're listening right now, any ideas? Please.
or anyone.
Yeah, right. When this lockdown malarkey is over, it will be really nice to really get the community together. And I know that there's a lot of friends and family that are watching this. Your brother, my dad, we've got some mutual friends that are watching this, and it's lovely to have that support. But there are also people worldwide. We actually go almost around the whole world, and I'm really proud of that. But what would be really nice is that we can build that community up a bit more as time goes on, and actually have a club. And maybe it's unrealistic to consider that everyone will be able to do it all the time, but maybe we meet once every few months or whatever, and we go to a location, maybe here in the UK, maybe once in a while we actually step overseas. I'm looking quite far ahead now, obviously, but it would be nice to kind of consider that we, like you're saying, Carlos, to chip in and have like that kind of club mentality and that club kit, that we might be able to do that. I know that sounds really far-fetched, but that could be something that happens.
Yeah. Again, it's a great thing to work towards.
Yeah.
Because the whole point, it is a community. And Jeff has given you some good advice, actually.
Go on.
Danny, with your...
bring it down here.
Building. Yeah, just bring it over to him.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Stop messing around.
Give it here, show you how it's done. All right, cheers.
I'm glad it did make me smile when I started getting all the messages through this week about when you got to the Crusade section of the rulebook and those kind of things, and the excitement coming from it, because I think it is just going to be such a fun way to play it.
I mean, I used to have everybody over here on my house like every Monday, and we just get together and play. Often 40k for a long time, and I used to run annual tournaments as well. That was quite good fun. But we just come over and play any game. But obviously, lockdown and the pandemic, rightfully so, has just stopped the world from moving. So it's just not been. We've not been able to do it. But me and my housemate, we play games. We play a lot of board games as well. I'm really into board games. So we play as often as we can. And of course, I've just acquired the new rulebook for 40k. So we're looking into actually having some games. We want to play some tank games as well, because I'm really into the 15mm tanks. So What a Tanker is a really good game. And we're looking at getting some of those games on Twitch as well, which might be a good way to kind of repair the damage done by Twitch, because I don't think that I can stream to YouTube and Twitch TV through Painting Club at the same time. I just don't think it's going to happen. But by producing, I suppose, content that is just going to be unique to Twitch, I might be able to do it that way. That might be cool.
Just to let you know, Danny, we've gone to the intermission screen.
We have gone to the intermission screen. That is absolutely deliberate. Thanks for bringing it up. But that's a background production thing there, Kyle. Yes, we have. This is my for all those that want to know. This is we're preparing for the intermission screen. And then there is a intermission screen where it tells you that we're in an intermission, and then the music goes to a selection of jazz.
Soft jazz.
So it's actually quite funky jazz. I do like it. All of my music, by the way, all my music comes from the YouTube audio library. It is all copyright free, so if that kind of gets flagged up somewhere along the line, there's no troubles with it at all. If you remember right back to episode 1 and 2, I don't think there was any music at all, because we were kind of concerned about what people's tastes were in music, but it was a bit flat, and obviously I didn't really know much about audio and how to kind of broadcast or anything. Clearly today it looks like I haven't learned a thing.
My bad. Sorry, Danny. I was going to say something, Danny. But Jeff has said also needs a base and a good dusting of tile grout.
Yeah, tile grout's a really good way of making like rubble and just general detritus, just general ground. I also heard that people can use cat litter as well. Obviously clean. Don't go, oh, there's a good deposit, I'll go sort that out. Oh, it sticks on its own. Brilliant. No, don't do that. But cat litter is a good mix to put in there. There are some.
And also, Jeff isn't a fan of jazz.
He's not a fan of jazz. Oh, do you not like my fresh jazz tunes in the intermission? The older I get, the more I do actually quite like jazz. Not the sort of jazz that you don't know what's going on, but the jazz that gets you toe tapping. I quite like that. I actually remember seeing a jazz concert in an open air concert once, and I'm fairly certain that every section in that orchestra, be it brass, woodwind, so on and so forth, was playing a completely different song. I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
We had some discussions about music and what to do, and it'd be nice to be able to have a little bit on the background. But then we thought, well, actually, what's probably nicer is people can put their own on if they want to, whilst they have a little bit of music on.
Yeah, if you want me to turn this music down, just let me know, because it might be too loud, or you might not like it. I've got like a selection of just kind of atmospheric. It's called Dance and Electronic. It's not at the moment. It doesn't sound like it, does it? Cool. I've just really got a little bit of this black left over, and I'm just trying to kind of get rid of it, because I don't really want it in the airbrush anymore, so I'm just not trying to overdo it on the model. So what I'm probably going to do is purge. We like that word, purge. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll stop now for a little break. So if you need to go and change your paint water over, or you need to go to the bathroom, grab a fresh cup of tea or something, now's the time to go and do it. So yeah, we'll be back in about 10 minutes. So until then, we'll see you soon. And we're back from that break. Yeah, well, I hope you enjoyed my jazz tunes. I certainly did. I didn't go for a break. Carl didn't go for one either. We're just having a little bit of a chat. I managed to clean out the airbrush. I'm just having a look at my audio levels now, making sure that I haven't managed to miss that mute button like I have done in the past, because I thought we're having a bit of a terrible day of it today. I thought everything's going to go wrong. It is going wrong. My dad's actually put there, Jeff has put in the live chat, says, it is good. Grout and cat litter mix is good to use as ground cover, and you keep cutting out, by the way. Oh, that is a shame. I'm really sorry about that. That must be because of the high latency that's going in there today. In the future, I'll make sure that I don't bother with Twitch TV, and I'll make sure that I just keep that to like a gaming thing, and I'll pull the plug on that. So apologies if that your the quality of the show has been affected by that. So during the break, I've managed to purge the airbrush of the black paint that I was using. And I'm also just playing around with a bit of a satin varnish now on one of my Zone Throat models, just trying to see if that it's going to protect it while I'm handling it anyway, because I'm always, when you're kind of painting it and you're holding it, you can just easily rub stuff off. So yeah, hopefully that will protect it, but it should be a slightly more silkier surface for future paints and washes and stuff to go on. So let's see how that kind of works. Kyle, how's your project coming on over there?
Oh, so slowly. I keep, as I should be, looking at the screen, and I've realised I might have to try and carve a bit more time out in my week to to do a bit of hobbying. But there's some people in this chat that will know how terrible I am at prioritising my paperwork, and that is why it takes me so long. I do everything but sit down and do that paperwork. So I'm gonna, if I can get myself a little bit more organised with that, maybe try and carve out another hour or two in the evenings.
Yeah.
For hobbying.
Yeah, cool. You might notice that there's a new member in the live chat there, Katie Torchy. I can hear you talking through the floor, but nothing is happening. This is my partner. Hi. You're right. That is because there is a good delay on the YouTube stream. So if you're watching over from YouTube right now, what I'm saying here will actually come through in about 10 to 15 seconds. So yeah, but also we've been told that we are experiencing some audio cutouts and just general rubbish latency and whatever. And that's just going to be the way it is for this week. So yeah, sorry about that if it's affecting anyone's life. I really am sorry. But this is the problem that Kyle has, is that because my webcams are all being taken up for the broadcast, I can't show that webcam info data, if you like, to two sources. I can't broadcast it and show it to Kyle separately. So he has to see the video feed on that delay, which makes life a little bit difficult, which is why at the beginning...
I think we've been seamless about it, though. I doubt anyone's ever noticed it, Danny.
I think it's... We
consummate professionals.
Boom! Yeah, we're good. We're in. I don't know why I said boom. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's why we would delay at the beginning of today, is that the virtual webcam is a little tool on this broadcasting software that allows me to send the screen from my broadcast as a webcam source. So I was able to show Kyle exactly what you're seeing now, but with about half a second delay, if that. But I think that on top of streaming to Twitch and probably just mid-lockdown bandwidth issues, I think that it was just too much, and it just cut the stream right at the beginning. And I suppose that every sort of live stream broadcaster's career, if you want to call it that for lack of a better word, that's just going to happen from time to time, and I'm okay with it. What matters is that we reconnect and we get back to you, our audience, as soon as possible. So where those problems persist, do be patient with us and just let us know. Okay, Adrian's put in the live chat here. He did forget the rules about the feeding gizmos after midnight. Now he's got gremlins. Yeah. That is what my house is like. Sorry, guys. That's what it is. So normally we talk about shout outs. So if you own a business, you're a content creator, you have a private business, or you work for a company who just produces really good stuff that's relevant to our hobby, then let us know, because I will more than happily shout it out. I don't do any paid sponsorships or anything like that. Maybe at this time, maybe in the future that might change, but at the moment it's a hub for the community. So I'm more than happy to free of charge, is to just kind of talk about and praise the stuff that's out there, and just to kind of circulate it around so everyone kind of gets to see all the cool stuff. However, I don't have an awful lot of stuff to talk about with the community, or with the shout out. Sorry. So there are companies who I've talked about, and people who produce their content, whatever, regularly. Rather than just fear of repeating myself over and over again and losing half an hour to it all. If you want to see what we spoke about in the past, in the descriptions to the video here, the comment section, you will find all of the links to all of the really cool sites, Facebook pages, etc., for all of those places that we spoke to. If you're new to us or you've missed this in the past, head on down to that comment section, or sorry, in the description, and just have a little look at those links, and it should take you directly to all of those cool places in there. And my dad's bespoke terrain or building making services also listed in there. Yeah, there you go. However, what we also do at this time is we talk about community spotlight. So if you've got some stuff that you have done, some painting or some building, or just something that's kind of game related, and you just kind of want to show it off, get a bit of feedback, or just maybe receive a bit of praise, then this is the place to do it. Send those pictures in to us, and we'll have a good look at them, and we'll talk about them as a community. Now, last week, if you remember, one of the reasons why last week didn't go so well, this week's just funny, last week was just a bit rubbish on my part, really, is that there was a problem with the computer somewhere along the line. I couldn't access those images to show you. So this week I've made sure that we can see those pictures. So I'm going to take you over now to our community spotlight. Prepare yourself, Kyle, because this really ties in with stuff that we've been talking about with your stuff in the past. So heading on over now. So these are some Space Marines of a homebrew chapter by a gentleman called Ruben Garaby. You may have heard me talk about Ruben in the past. Ruben has become a very good friend of mine. He runs the Hostile Galaxy magazine, online digital magazine, and helped me build the confidence and a little bit of connection to get Easy 8 Online Painting Club up and running. He spotted me doing some painting as a tutorial in on the Tyranid page in Facebook, asked if it was okay to put it up in his magazine, and we just kind of got talking ever since. I was in his first ever issue, and now I've got my own telly show, so you can see that fame really goes somewhere. But Ruben's a Tyranid player. And recently took some time out over Christmas to get some Space Marines up and going, and I thought they were fantastic. These were up in his private group, the Hostile Galaxy, of the same name of his magazine, but it's a Facebook group. You can find a link to that if you want to on Easy 8's Facebook page if you're interested in kind of going on over there. And mostly people over in the States, but there's me and a few others as well that are from this side of the pond. He put these photos up, and I was just transfixed by everything about them. For starters, classic Marines. None of that. Well, there's a little bit, I think, of the new Primaris Marines going in there, but Terminators, I just really like them. And he's got some really unique colours going on. Those lightning claws in there as well. Greens for like power blades on those power claws, or the lightning claws they're called. I think a lot of people just do them either steel or sometimes blue, and green's underused. I know it's used on a lot of like other armies, like Necrons, for example, but it works really well. And the colours, the whole colour scheme here works really good. I thought that was actually a gold colour, but I think Ruben actually did tell me, and I have since last week I've actually misplaced the information that he sent me, but I think that's like a yellow, and he's built up with other colours to kind of make it look gold in almost a non-metallic way. Dave says, "We have frozen. I'm really sorry. I hope that we have unfrozen." I will carry on. But what's really good about these Marines? He says, "You're still frozen." Okay, cool. Hopefully we can carry on. Kyle, can you still hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. I'll just jump on the comments and see how we're going.
Okie dokie. We are really having some problems tonight, aren't we?
I think just Twitch might be too much, maybe.
Perhaps.
Might not be liking it, or like we say, we've had some troubles with just it all being busy.
I'm just going to hold back for a bit, see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, classic. It's a shame because this spotlight as well is a lot of what we've been talking about with my basing.
That's why I wanted to talk about it as well.
I actually saw something recently, and I spoke to a guy about it. because he had some crystals on his bases, and I was like, oh, and then he'd put some paint on them as well, and I thought, oh, fantastic. Did you get those from Green Stuff World? He went, no, actually, they're just old sprues that I've cut and put together.
Oh, right.
And I've just had a look at them, and yeah, they're the right shape that you can stick them together, and they will look crystalline with it. And I was like, oh.
Adrian says that he can hear us, but the picture has frozen. Okay, cool. Brilliant. Well, you can hear us just chin wagging away here. Yeah. What a disastrous evening this has been. Do you know what I'll do? I'll take us back because I know that sometimes the animations get a little bit much, especially if there's a lot of pressure on the stream. So I'll go back to the webcams. Let's see if this changes anything. So you should be able to see us here. I'm waving. Kyle is sulking. No, there he is. He's got his sprue. Cool. Yeah, you can hear you, but the picture has frozen. And
I'm on YouTube at the moment, and we are still frozen.
Are we frozen? Are we frozen on the pictures, or are we frozen on the webcam?
Webcam.
On the webcam. So we didn't even get a chance to go over and have a look at those.
We moved a little bit. Oh, ever so slightly. There's a little bit of movement. It's like stop motion. Oh, it's painful.
Well, if people can hear us, then we can just kind of carry on talking, can't we? If it's going to be
a podcast.
Yeah, if it's going to be too much of an issue to show you the feed of those images, what I can do is I'll actually upload them onto the Facebook page at the end of this show, so that you can.
Oh, there they are.
Oh, it's just being really laggy. Basically, those Marines the pictures of Marines that Ruben sent through, they just play into the questions that you were asking a couple of weeks ago about what you wanted to do with your Space Marines and the bases, and that you wanted to make it look like there was an alien planet, etc., etc. So we're talking about putting some different coloured grasses and things on there. We were talking about putting like crystals and things down, but you didn't know what sort of textures to make that planet look. And obviously, I'll send you a couple of pictures during the week on a private chat. Darren's in. Hi guys. Hi Darren. Thanks for coming along to the show. We are experiencing some serious problems tonight, so if you're getting problems, we're really sorry. Just try to grin and bear it and see what happens. Yeah. So basically, those images are they're a collection of really cool images that I've really been trying so hard to show everybody. But I've got about half a dozen of them to kind of show, just so you can see. Seems to have melted now. So basically you can see what Ruben's done with that kind of alien landscape, and he just kept it as like that kind of grey rough gravel, if you like, and then had like you kind of like blue grass, and you could add crystals and things to it as well. But of course we can't show those to you now because we're really struggling with this stream. Unfortunately, there appears to be nothing that I can do about
it. And I'm seeing it, so I don't know if anyone else is still having dramas, because I watch through YouTube as well, and we've got the Terminators up at the moment, and we seem to be moving around a little bit, which is quite nice.
It might just be that it just slowed down and went sluggish there, and it's kind of catching up, and obviously you're seeing the delay. Well, tonight's really been a test of our cool, hasn't it?
Again, that consummate professionals that we are, Danny, I think we're passing with flying colours.
I think so. I'm just going to keep on airbrushing my satin varnish here. I don't want it to kind of congeal inside the airbrush. It's all going rather well at the moment. And I've been able to look at my little zoanthrope here, and he's looking pretty good. I used to use satin varnish quite a lot back in the old days of my Tyranid playing, back in sort of 2nd and 3rd edition. And I used to brush it on. I think I used probably the wrong satin varnish. I think I was using stuff for canvas. But it gave a really good sort of appearance to the Tyranids, because everyone back in those days either used to use gloss or straight up matte, which I then kind of went to over all the years. Satin, I haven't done anything with it since then until now. And a lot of the tank stuff that I do, people are saying you should probably consider using satin varnish, because you get better control of all the washes and the weathering things and stuff that kind of go with it. So here I am kind of playing with it to see if I can get this non-oil wash to work for me. The shade, I keep calling it a wash. Yeah, it's a bit of an experiment really. I suppose it's a bit bold of me to be experimenting with something that has just taken me so long to kind of get to the level it's at. But don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, right? That's what we've been saying for the last couple of weeks.
Exactly. And that's talking about as well, having all these pictures up and the conversations we've been having. I have never based a model before in my life.
Have you not?
Because of how bad I was at painting, I never got around to basing. I am looking forward to it, but oddly, do feel a bit weird about sort of stepping out of that comfort zone to do it, because I want to get it right. And I know we spoke about doing it as because I really want to use it on that knowledge of the colour wheel as well, so it really adds something to the whole model. So yeah, I have taken my time with trying to get this right, and I've looked at a few different things, and yeah, I'd now just need to get some and have a little bit of an experiment and just see how it goes.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. It'd be really interesting to see what you do with it, and kind of like I said like episodes ago, the base for me is a way of telling the story, because we say it every week, Kyle, and it wouldn't be a show without saying it, but we like the narrative. We like the narrative game, the kind of get that story out of it. But for putting the base down is a way of telling you where they are and what they're doing. And for me, the Tyranids is about showing that we've won because it's a barren landscape devoid of any kind of nutrient or whatever. The guys in the live chat saying that we're back now. Hello, really sorry about that. It looks like for whatever reason that I'm not going to be able to show you those pictures. I'm not going to put them back up again now, I don't think, because it might just freeze everything back up. Everyone's kind of confirming it. I'm going to take us back over to the workbench so you can see what I'm doing, and I can only apologise for once again that I'm not going to be able to show you Community Spotlight, but I think everything's just kind of working against us today. What I might do during the week is I might do like a little side show to the painting club to kind of give you a live thing, and if Carl's available for that, then that'd be cool. Otherwise, we'll just see if we can come back next week with less going on. But we had to give it a go. We had to give the virtual webcam thing a go. We had to give Twitch a go. But it looks like that we might be trying to bite too much off in one go here. Anyway, to the workbench, and hopefully you should be able to see me. Do let me know if you can see it. Dan says none at all. Keep going, says Jeff. Brilliant. Yeah, wicked. I'm not bothered. No, I'm not bothered. So yeah, here's my little zoanthrope. I say I've just been putting a little satin varnish over him. That makes it like a semi-gloss if you don't know what a satin varnish is. And I quite like it actually on the carapace, and I might just go like matte on the skin or something. I might even do a gloss on the brain and the side here. If you remember my Biovore from a couple of weeks ago, I did like the spore sacs, those green elements on it. I did those gloss just to kind of make it stand out even more. But what it does is it allows you to have a smooth surface to kind of to paint on, as well as protecting it like any varnish will do. So it stops you from kind of rubbing the paint off with your hands as you're handling it. So what I might do, and I might even move to a gloss to kind of give it a go as well, is when I'm putting this Nuln Oil into these areas here, in between the armoured plates up here, it might stop it grabbing so much as a paint and tide marking so much. So all I want to do is just have like a defining line here and here, for example, to kind of separate these two plates, and then so forth on every other plate here. So I would then put more on the back down here, in this little line, and this little line here, just to kind of go, this is a separate plate, this is a separate plate, because at a distance it just kind of blurs off into a grey mass and you can just see some paler lines on it. But Nuln Oil just fights me every time. So yeah, satin varnish, but it is also just a good sealing thing as well. Not a sealing like a roof sealing, just protect your paintwork. I might just do the base on it as well, because when you're holding the base, the paint comes off really easy down there. So yeah, let's talk about those bases, Kyle, for you. So you got your space marines. You want to make them look like they're on another planet, or like an alien world that just doesn't look normal. But I suppose
get away from green grasses.
Yeah, sure. I suppose what you've got to be careful about is conveying what world it is. You've got to have something. I say you've got to. You should consider having something that kind of lets you know what it is that you're looking at, going, this is grass, this is an alien grass, not going, what is that, and then having to clarify, this is an alien grass. So like Ruben's pictures, if anyone saw it there, you can see that there was blue grass. I've also seen purple and pink, and they just look phenomenal. But you can also include crystals, and you can buy all these things through Just Play UK, one of the companies that I talk about quite a lot. They're down in the description if you want to go and have a little look at them. But there's a company called Red Grass, and they do like terrain mats, I believe. But they do all sorts of different types of like the weird looking grass tufts, like the purples and stuff. So that might be something to do. Ruben's obviously put that kind of grey, not tarmac, but that just kind of grey shingle down, I suppose. That's something you could do. But what about maybe combining that and making it look like pools or puddles, like I do with my stuff? You could do some like weird kind of alien puddles and things to kind of break it up.
My first thought, because I don't want to have too much sort of conflicting colours, is like maybe a sand base with the sort of shrubbery and crystal coming out of it, so it's fairly simple on the ground. And then with a little bit of height and colour coming in from. So
you could do like desert plants and things, couldn't you?
Yeah, and go with that.
You might
because I've gone for a very dark colour scheme. I just wanted to add a little bit of colour and a little bit lighter colour on the bases.
Yeah.
Just to help, so they weren't all. They're not feeling like washed out too dark. There's a bit of contrast, and hopefully it will look quite nice because I'm going for that turquoisey colour, so it sits beautifully opposite the colours I've gone for on the colour wheel, which is something that we've touched on in previous episodes.
Do you know, actually, I've actually had quite a few discussions off air with people talking about the colour wheel and the successes that they've had with it, and just also the the interest that people have taken into it. People have always, I think, known about the colour wheel, but just to kind of like dipping your toes into something a bit new and going, oh, okay, cool. And that little interactive colour wheel that we used was really quite fun, wasn't it?
Yeah,
just to kind of play around with the colour. And there's so many videos out there on YouTube as well where they can talk about the different colour groups. It's not just about the main two, like the primary and secondary. There's a tertiary, and then there's all sorts of different ones out there as well. And it's really worth looking at them because it might open your eyes up into colour schemes. Cool.
Everything I did there, I based off the videos you sent me.
Oh, right.
A couple of videos on the colour wheel, and I carved out some time to watch them. They weren't long at all. Really, really handy, and just gave me a little bit more knowledge that I thought would have taken me a lot of experience to build up. I thought it would be very much a trial and error thing. It's going to take quite a long time, but those videos were quick, easy. Yeah, it just gave me that grounding knowledge, and they're always there, so I can go back to them.
Yeah. There were some really fascinating discussions about the colour brown and how that it's not really a colour because you don't see it in a rainbow. It's not a part of the light spectrum. So what is it? It's actually a dark colour of orange, and that really got me thinking about colours and colour theory. It was really interesting. I implore you, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go start searching on YouTube videos about the colour wheel and colour theory. It's fascinating, and it just opened my eyes up a bit. I need a bit more satin varnish in my airbrush. So setting a battlefield theme then is one of the things that I wanted to talk about. What do I mean by that? Where are you fighting? If you're going to play a game and have a narrative like we do, if you're playing a Second World War game, it's very easy to kind of decide where you're playing because there are only a couple of theatres of war. I say a couple, I mean it's World War, but there was like North Africa, there was Europe, there was the winters, all these well-documented locations and times. So that kind of pretty much determines where you're going to be looking at as a battlefield. Are you fighting in the Ardennes in winter? Then it's probably going to be forest and snow. Are you going to be fighting North Africa? It's going to be a lot of sand and dry arid landscapes, etc. The buildings with that will probably change as well. But when you're playing something science fiction or even fantasy, your options are virtually limitless. So what do you portray? Well, the big one I think that we do with 40k is a ruined hive city or just that kind of almost Stalingrad style place. That's an easy one to do. But what else can you do with it? Does it have to be in the Imperium, which seems to be the most popular sort of setting in the game? Could you do it on an alien world, like Kyle was saying? The only problem with that, of course, is if you're going to do lots of different types of terrains, that you have to have the place to store it. And in this house, I don't have all of that. I don't have that luxury really. But yeah, I mean, let's discuss that and explore it. Do you think, Kyle, that you might be able to make terrain to kind of go along with your Space Marines? And what would you do?
Definitely. There's a couple of things just straight off my head there. What's nice about it is a lot of your terrain pieces can be used across different settings, if that makes sense. You can make quite generic pieces that you can use to populate a lot of the battlefield with, and then just having a couple of very specific pieces to tie it into wherever you want it to go.
Yeah, do like a mix and match. Yeah, but I've really been thinking about getting some battle mats or a battle mat. And again, I've seen a couple of different ones on Just Play on their website. So, Richie, if you're watching right now, I might be buying from you again.
And then my first idea for like unique pieces would just be a couple of like big monolith style crystals.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then big clusters of them to work in sort of line of sight blocking terrain.
Again, something that if you wanted to, you could play around with moulding as well, couldn't you? You could do like silicon molds, so you can just kind of mass produce them if you wanted to.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Away from that idea of buildings and ruins and things. Fields of crystals and forests.
Because I'm one of those players that when I started, I used to play around crisp packets and Coke cans,
Oh yeah, 100%.
But there comes a time when bundles of socks. There comes a time when you've got to move on from books under a green sheet,
Yeah. That was the classic. Yeah.
It was.
Under what you were playing. Yeah.
Unfortunately, the thing that we didn't get to see in any of the pictures on the community spotlight, and I will revisit them again, is that Ruben remembers back in 3rd edition. If any of our viewers might remember, Games Workshop's cacti, where they made them out of polystyrene balls and with cocktail sticks. So they painted the balls green and the sticks red, and just kind of made them look like these giant, round, weird alien cacti. Ruben's always wanted some, so for Christmas, his wife made some for him, and they're actually included in his photos. So it was a real shame that we didn't really get to see those. I do feel I've let Ruben down a bit today, because obviously we've developed quite a nice little partnership over the last few months, and I was really looking forward to kind of bringing him on the show. Another little bit of a letdown that's occurred this week is our guest spot. I've been talking about guest spots for a little while now. And we actually had a gentleman over in right over on the western seaboard of America. I do believe, was it Idaho, right next to Washington. There's a gentleman called Jeffrey Cleghorn who watches our show. Recently, he's been watching it live, but watches it whenever he can, because they're 8 hours behind us, and was actually going to be a guest on tonight's show. But talking to him just a couple of days ago, his employers just phoned him back up again, and after like the problems that they've been experiencing with the pandemic over in that country, is that he's just been re-employed and has literally started work again, so is unable to attend as our guest today, which is a crying shame. But at least you're working, bro. So that's cool. I'm happy with that. If you'd like to be a guest on a show, just let us know. It takes a little bit of prior setup, so you'll have to have a chat with me, and we'll sort it all out, and then you can come on. There's no expectations for you. It's not like you've got to come on, follow a script. We certainly don't.
But again, you probably can't tell.
No, because absolutely. And there's no editing or anything like that. There's a couple of rules that we like to follow. No swearing. So if you've got a potty mouth, maybe this isn't the place for you. But if you can keep that under control, then yeah, come along. And it's as I say, there's no expectations. If you just kind of want to be a part of the discussion and develop that community with us, then yeah, we're open for it all. So if you want to, cool. What have we got here? Jeff has said Geek Gaming does a very nice Mars terrain for bases. There you go. Nice. Sorry, Carl, I cut you off.
Spotlight. It means you get to inject a little bit of lore and information and highlight on one of the other or many of the other armies of the 40k universe.
Or any other game system.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know we tend to talk a lot about the 40k here, but it is for any system. Any modelling, any painting, any crafts, anything like that.
Yeah, if you paint on canvas, whatever.
And I think after I get these intercessors done, move on and do some airfix.
Yeah, you've been saying about that, haven't you? That'd be really nice to see that happen. The fascinating thing about Jeffrey, or Jeff, Mr. Cleghorn, the guy who was going to be our guest this evening, is that he found us on Instagram because he noticed that I was putting up pictures of the 135th Panther that I've been, kind of on and off painting or making. Sorry, he's making the same kit. So that's how we got talking. He wanted to come and be a part of that. So yeah, I don't think he plays 40k. He misheard me talking, or misheard us talking a little while ago about Crusades, and thought that we were playing a game about the Crusades, and said he's got a couple of systems to suggest, and I would love to explore that and discuss it, because if anyone doesn't know me, I have a massive fascination with history and the medieval period. Second World War are both areas that I specialize in, especially the medieval period. So yeah, I'd be really interested to hear about that. Yeah, it's just interesting to see different takes on it. It's not all about Games Workshop and 40k, although that is the game that I think I play the most. I like tanks. I like tanks. Something I was going to do last week, Kyle. I see you haven't watched the video back, but I was going to basically suggest to our community of viewers what would they like to see me painting. Obviously, we can't see you painting at the moment with our minimal setup. Maybe in the future that might be a possibility, but at the moment, even though I'm just painting what I want to paint, I do have lots of different things that I want to get through. So if they want to see me do, like, say, more 40k stuff, do you want to see Space Marines? Do you want to see Tyranids? Do you want to see some Orcs? Or do you want to see something from another game? Do you want to see all the various different systems that are out there? I've got stuff for various different tank scales, ranging from 15mm, 28mm, 135th. I've got various vehicles in that setting as well. I've got Gaslands, which is totally different thing.
Be a great one, because we could do a little spotlight on it. I could have a look at it, come up with an idea for mine, and we could from scratch start it.
What a brilliant idea! So I was going to put up a little sort of poll on Facebook, and Kesslin, one of our regular viewers who doesn't watch us every week, but does watch us back on playback when she can, suggested to me that I would do some BattleTech miniatures, like the battle mechs, because if you remember, I was helping her come up with some colour schemes, etc. That project is still on the go. It's just been a bit of a manic couple of weeks, but it is in progress. Said like, hey, I would love to see some BattleTech stuff. So that's a game that I've played a couple of times. I don't actually have very many miniatures for, but I do have a couple. So that's just something different, right? So what I'll do is I decided to leave it from last week because I kind of wanted to talk to you about it. I wanted to get things back on track. Yeah. And I will now do that poll on Facebook. So if you've got any ideas what you want to see, or if you're just happy just to kind of paint what you're doing and just kind of watch me crack on, then that's cool. Let's do that too. Right, and put my zone threats over there. They are now all varnished with satin. Yeah. That might make it
interesting to see the difference.
Yeah. It's just made my zone threat look a little bit smoother. If I bring the light in a bit there. It's very hard to see actually on my camera, but it's just made it look a little bit smoother. It's obviously protected a little bit, and a little bit later on I'm going to try the pin lining again and just see how that kind of goes. Oh, bring it back in the frame. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just made a nice little texture on it. I quite like it. Gloss is the wrong thing to paint everything in. Obviously that comes back from the old days of toy soldiers, and everything was made of lead. You would paint them up in red and blue and black or whatever, and they'd be very glossy, and you just gloss them to protect them. But we've moved on as war gamers, model painters, collectors, or whatever from that time. Stop it! It's a crime. Just knock it off, would you? No, it has a place, and obviously it is a part of the how that model is presented. If you want your model looking glossy, then make it glossy. So, like I was saying, a lot of the advice I've been getting and a lot of the stuff I've been looking up for tanks, Second World War armor, should be satin, because when they were painted, they weren't matte, but they certainly weren't glossy, and it allows you to have a lot more control over how you apply weathering and washes and things like that, and stains. So I think I'm going to be having a real good play with that, especially when it comes to that Panther. I've just got a couple of last little bits and pieces to put on him, and then I'm going to start priming up to be painted. I'm really looking forward to it, because I don't know what it is about tanks. There are people out there who really like cars, right? I like cars for sure, but I don't really get all warm and fuzzy inside about them. But when it comes to tanks, I don't know what it is, but I just really like how they look and what they are. Not necessarily what they're designed for. That's a little bit wrong in my mind. You know, I'm a pacifist. I've said that before. I don't like, you know, the idea of people going to war. But yeah, a tank's just big and grimy and machiney.
Loud.
Yeah, and I say I've had the fortune to go to the Tank Museum in Bovington and see the Tiger actually running, the only fully operational Tiger in the world. And they have it in the museum, and then they roll it outside, and we could hear it. We'd already gone past it in the museum, but they were rolling it outside. Like, what is that sound? And like, oh, I know what that is. It's like they had all the tanks out there, man, and that Tiger is something else. It really is. So yeah, I like to paint them, and I like to try and make them look real, and lots of different ways of painting them, etc. Let's move back to this. So here, Kyle, you're going to see it delayed. Here is my bronzy bronze eagle, but now it's covered in black lines. Yeah, black lines. And that's basically just fake shadowing. That's a lot of what airbrushing really is, and modulation and things. It's very unrealistic, but what it's going to do is it's just going to add a lot of depth to this very flat and static piece. So I'm just going to basically get some more bronze, make sure that it's nice and thin, and it goes through naturally through the airbrush. And as it kind of goes over, it will go back over all of the old bronze color and just make that more opaque. And then as it hits the black, that black will just kind of shine through, if you will, black shining. It will just show through. So
Nice.
yeah, thank you. Cheers. Seamless. That might be a motto for us. Might get that on a t-shirt. Easy 8 Painting Club. Seamless. Right, let's get a couple of drops of.
Still waiting to see it. Oh, I'm behind today.
Do you know what? It's been a bit of a mess this evening, but it's been a laugh, right?
It has been. It's been good. It's good to be back. I genuinely did miss it last week because it is like I said, it has been my only time to get my hobby.
You are very busy, gentlemen. Can you see it now?
No, but I feel like it's about to happen. The zone tropes have gone, so it must be soon.
Yes, it's coming. I was just cleaning out the airbrush.
Yeah, I was looking at my stuff and I was like, I missed out that week's hobby in time. Like, I missed it. I sat in a dark room instead.
Great joy.
Yeah.
Do any of your housemates also play?
One is just getting into it, so I'm gently keep trying to nudge him to carry on. He's just got a Space Wolves box. And he's had it for a very long time. Started putting it together, got busy, got distracted. So I'm just trying to gently get him back into it. So we could get a little crusade, little house crusade going just between two people.
That might be interesting to see if we can make two crusades, one from this house, one from yours, and maybe kind of combine them into one story.
That'd be cool.
It would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. Right. Okay. I've got my brass. I've got a bit of a clog in my airbrush. It's kind of taking its time. Don't play up on me now. Thank you very much. It is fighting me today.
That is the joys of using an airbrush live as well. Look.
Yeah. Here we go. It might be that I got my pressure set wrong for it, but I think there might be a tiny blockage inside because varnish is a very different beast to paint, and it wants to fight you all the way. It kind of congeals. It's more resin than it is anything else, so it kind of wants to just almost like a PVA glue, if you like. It's not PVA glue at all, but that's the kind of closest thing I can describe it as. It's kind of spitting. Got a little bit of spatter. Come on now. I'm going to turn the pressure up a little bit, see what happens. Oh.
Yeah, it's a bit of a blast through.
Yeah. Well, that's a bit better. Might also just be that it needs to kind of flow a little bit, just so that the mixture that I've made in there of the flow improver and the thinner might need to kind of just get into the paint well inside. But it is spitting, coming out in drops. This is one of the problems that you get with an airbrush occasionally. I spent an hour or two the other day stripping it all down and cleaning it, so it's immaculate inside. But that satin gloss that I just had in there might just be a bit too much. There's a couple of trick fixes that I can do here. Just kind of move the needle backwards and forwards. It does not want to.
Thank you.
Go on.
Thank you to Jeff there. Sorry, he's just put up that there's a 15mm tank coming my way, so I can kick your ass at Tanker.
You're getting all the gifts, aren't you?
I mean, with a face like this.
Yeah, right.
First time it's ever happened to me. Oh no, honestly, that's absolutely. Thank you for that. That's amazing. I will use all that war studies knowledge to absolutely destroy Dan. As much as I don't like tanks, I have studied them at depth. So I'll see if all that money on a degree was worth it.
Yeah.
That will be it. That'll be the one. That first game will decide whether or not it was worthwhile me going to university.
Well, that's a challenge if I've ever heard one.
We'll see what happens.
Okay, we're flowing now. Here we go. Yeah, there was, I think.
And it'll be lovely to try paint on. They do look like fantastic models as well. So yeah, thanks, Jeff. That's honestly amazing.
Got some brushes. You got a tank.
Oh. Yeah, I've never painted like a scale tank like that before.
It's really good fun.
I've done the odd rhino. Again,
and the 15mm as well. They're so small. Like you know, you don't have to do an awful lot to it to kind of make it look good. Oh, it's just fighting me.
I won't be able to do my Blood Angels dry brush technique on that. It's going to be nice. It'll be a new technique of painting. Not new, but practicing a new technique of painting.
Yes, it's also nice to kind of explore the different colours and things that are out there as well. I mean, obviously we use very bright kind of colours for heroic games like 40k, where they use quite a range of colours that aren't your normal palette, if you like. I've gone through all of that paint and did not want to do anything at all. That is fighting me. Might have to carry that on after the show. I'm going to have to strip it down and give it a really good clean, I think. Bit of a shame. But
I'm now seeing the Aquila, and it does look, even just with those black lines put in place.
Yeah, it does look like something, doesn't it? It's
yeah.
You'll see in a minute when I've actually started applying some paint on it. You'll see now that it's one side it's very, the black lines are very, very stark, and up close that doesn't look all that great. I mean, it still looks nice, it's got depth in it, but where I've started going back over with the brass now, it's made a lot of difference. And I only really have to hit it with that one more coat, and it'll just be a subtle thing. It's just really, really subtle. And then it's just about, you know, highlights and then weathering. And I'll do a lot of is the word that I'm looking here verdigris, where you get like sort of green effects on coppers and bronzes and things like that. And I'll do a lot of work like that on it. And then I'll just I'll grey, black, and grime or the sort of the dirt and dust and stuff that's on the floor. Really weather it down as well. There's a couple of skulls in there as well, quite a few actually. So I'll just bring those out, and they'll just be nice little points of just kind of different colours, just to kind of pop out a little bit, different. We're getting quite close to the end. I said that I'm going to stay on for a couple of minutes longer because obviously the problems that we've had throughout and at the beginning of the show. Carl, are you okay to stay on for a couple of minutes, or have you got to shoot? Yeah, he's going to stay.
I reckon I can stay a couple.
You can stay.
Minutes.
Nice, nice. Right, let me just move this aside.
The slowest unit of Space Marines I've ever put together.
Are they done? Are they done?
Not even close.
Oh, mate.
I've done some. It is. I just can't multitask. I like for me as well, it's the comments. I absolutely love seeing the comments come into the chat and just seeing what's going on there as well. So it's nice to have that kind of interactive
grimy needle
to what we're doing, and it's what I was most excited about with what this can be and what we're trying to make is the community side of it. So just
it's nice to come on,
keeping in with the chat.
It's nice to come on and have a bit of a giggle, isn't it? Watch out, Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Oh, I wish. I'm just oddly, just whilst you're finishing up there, I had got my sanguinary guard next to my headless intercessor sergeant, and the size difference is crazy.
Because the sanguinary guard are classic Marines, aren't they? Old school. Yeah.
Firstborns, and the models are the same height, but there's no head on the Primaris. They made them considerably bigger.
I do like the models, and I do like the lore that goes behind it. What I'm fearful of is that they just phase the old ones out. They're so iconic. They're so iconic that I just think that you're cutting your own head off if you remove them. Keep them in, and have the clash of differences between them, because that's been something that's been bandied around since they've been launched. Is that the Flesh Tearers? So it's a lovely name, isn't it? Yeah. Which are an offshoot of the Blood Angels. I really like them. They're all about. I think they lose their stuff a little bit more than the Blood Angels do, don't they? And they often don't care about who's in their way. Blood for the Blood God Emperor, right? But
most of the successor chapters for Blood Angels, that some are
a little bit bonkers.
The Blood Angels don't have anything to do with them.
Do they not? I didn't know that. But yeah, like. Their leader is called Gabriel Seth, and he's just really cool because he's like badass times 11, and he doesn't like them. He doesn't like the new Primaris Marines, and there was a nice bit of story that was written where he's kind of talking to another Space Marine, I think about his level perhaps, saying that he won't have them because they're an abomination of what the Emperor had created, because the Emperor didn't create these Marines. They were created by one of the Tech Marines many hundreds of thousands of years, or many thousands of years later, and so he doesn't want them, but they're kind of forced upon him. He has to do it, and I liked that. I thought that was a nice little bit of drama in the story. Don't get rid of it. Keep it. Write books and supplements and stuff to kind of have that in play. Like if you've got them included in your army and your army don't like these guys, then they're not going to work so well together. And there might be all sorts of special rules that you could put in for it. Don't phase them out.
But it's looking. I know some of the Firstborn Marine box sets on Games Workshop website have just been out of stock for so long. I think
it's not looking hopeful, is it? It's not looking hopeful.
Yeah, and it would be a real kick to a lot of people with a lot of.
It will be. I mean for sure, you can.
You do what you want. You can keep them in, and you don't have to replace them or anything like that. But how hard it will become to add more.
And that's the issue. The other issue as well is that after a while you're gonna have models that in an edition or two you won't be able to play because the rules won't exist for them, and that's where it becomes complicated, I suppose.
You'll be having to ask people to play older editions
just to go back and play the Marines that you like. And it's not my game. I didn't create it. I don't have the license or any say in it whatsoever. Or do I? Because I am your consumer. I don't know. I just think that they are. I think that they need to make some nice resculpts for them.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, the modelling standards on those Primaris Marines are. You compare them to any other game, and even the really good games that are out there, these Space Marine plastic models are just phenomenal.
The problem with that, obviously, you've got a long line of people waiting for resculpts, like Imperial Guard, Infantry, Guardians for Eldar. Some of those kits now are.
Yes, they are. They are really old. My housemate is obviously, is an Eldar player and has got some back from second edition sculpts. And if that's what you've got to deal with, that's what you've got to deal with. There are some third-party sculpts out there, of course, but that might be a topic for another day. And I come away from the workbench, Kyle, because I think we're pretty much at the end of the day. It's 9 o'clock. So yeah, let me just go back over what we were talking about today. And Twitch is saying that I can control Twitch directly from my phone. I don't think I should. So yeah, you haven't made an awful lot of progress I haven't made an awful lot of progress, but I've made some savvy decisions here. I quite like having a couple of projects to go at the same time, so I can wait for something to dry, like the zoanthropes with their satin gloss. I'm sitting there looking at them now, and the way that the light's reflecting off of them, it's really nice. And I might make all of my Tyranids satin gloss. So we'll see how that goes, right? Yeah, but it's nice to have a couple of things on the go, so I can move between the two. What I'd like to know is how everybody else has been getting on with their projects tonight. Obviously, Luke, always on with the Sisters of Battle. Have you been seeing any of the photos that Luke's been putting up on the Facebook page?
Yeah,
they're looking really good. They're looking really cool.
Great.
And obviously, yeah, Adrian's got every army ever. And the Fortress of Redemption. Actually, Adrian was showing some of his pictures the other day where he's got his own Deathwing units, which is a type of Space Marine, and he's making the Fortress of Redemption in the same colour set, so it kind of matches and ties in, so it will be a Fortress of Redemption with these Deathwing Terminators. And there is a photo on Facebook that he uploaded just at the end of last show, or just after last show, and I think that when that's all done and weathered and washed and whatever, and all the Marines are all there ready to go, I think it will look really, really cool. And that's another thing as well, isn't it? Is that, like we're saying about making your battlefield theme, is that not only can you set the location, but you can set the people who it belongs to, especially in like a sci-fi thing, with historical stuff. The location pretty much determines the style of the building. So like you have like European towns, the different countries have very different looking buildings and whatever, especially when you go over to the Eastern Front, Stalingrad, a lot of it was just kind of block buildings. But with kind of fantasy and sci-fi, you have a lot more artistic direction to go with it, and you can tie it into your army. Do the Blood Angels have anything specific?
Fortification wise?
Or just kind of buildings?
You just, because a part of their lore is that they're sort of like master artisans. They take a lot of pride in the building and sculpting of things. So just nice looking things, like statuary and things like that, I think would be very
statuary. So maybe if I pull my finger out and get this Space Marine statue done in the mold and whatever, that might be something really cool. And get some stuff done with that.
And again, I'm guessing with the Blood Angels, chalices are a big thing.
Yeah, I suppose. Giant. Every Marine gets a chalice cup, like a chalice chair. Yeah, that'd be great. Adrian's reply says, "Call created Call. Yeah, Belisarius Call is the tech marine who created them. Call created the Primaris Marines under orders from Papa Smurf. Yes, so not the Emperor himself, but it was a part of one of the other Space Marines in their Call. That's it. Yeah, CAWL. So it's kind of not the Emperor's bidding, and if the Emperor knew about it, maybe he'd go a bit potty about it. Kind of, yeah. It was seen as like a tarnishing of the Emperor's holy work. I love all that story that kind of goes with it. The lore, the books and stuff that kind of go with it. It was fantastic. I unfortunately haven't played any of the book style missions that came out at the end of last edition, when they brought out the Primaris Marines, when they brought back the Primarch Gilliman, the Ultramarines, and they had the Eldar book and the Necrons fighting the Tyranids with the Blood Angels in there, and they made 3 books or so, didn't they, of various different ones, and they were all missions that were set within the lore, and I didn't collect any of them. I think I touched one of them once. It was like, oh, Psychic Awakening, I think it was. Obviously, the Chaos Invasion, Cadia imploded, and I never looked